Hello, happy Friday! It's a rainy Friday here, and I'm just working. So I'm just gonna get right back on it. I am animating some more today. On the previous stream, I was just starting to kind of lay out these two shots here. Endi and Amp are cloud surfing, and then they're surfing through the air. The ship kind of hits an updraft and gets stalled, and then Endi and Amp come in for a rough landing. So yeah, this morning, I kind of built in a little more of the blocking of what I want them to do. I haven't really animated their bodies or the boards yet. I've just kind of refined the path of action I want them to take in this shot. Yeah. So now that that's in place, I can start kind of refining or blocking this shot. Start blocking in their actual poses. This is probably one of the most complex body mechanics shots of the entire episode. They're both tumbling across the ground, and then they come to a stop, and then they both sit up and they start fiddling with their broken surfboards that are going to be there with them. So yeah, it's quite a complex shot. I probably won't get through a whole lot of it on this stream, but I'm just going to start blocking and see how far I get. And once kind of the basics of this one are blocked in, I'll be able to kind of start blocking in their bodies on this one so that we can get a good hookup between the two shots. So that's the plan for the day. And got the two shots open here. So yeah, I've gone ahead and I've kind of adjusted some of their controllers so that we're ready to just start working with the body poses. And I'm going to start with that. Oh, my brain is like jumping back and forth between something I meant to share. Oh yeah, okay. So this is what I meant to share. This is a cool little Blender tip I figured out. If you're working with something that's got like a scene that's got a lot of different armatures in it, like this one for instance, I've got a ship armature, I've got 3 armatures on each character. Normally you can't click on one armature when you're in pose mode and switch to another. What I have been doing without knowing better is like going back into object mode, selecting this one, and then going back into pose mode. And then I thought I was doing a big upgrade when I selected multiple armatures at the same time and go into pose mode together. But that still doesn't solve the problem of still not being able to select other armatures. Well, it turns out that you can go into your outliner up here and you can set it so that you only see the armatures. If you set it pretty much like this, all I have showing in the filter here is objects and armatures. And what that does is it sets it so only your armatures are here in your outliner. And then, this is the magic part I discovered on the last stream. You go into pose mode, and there's this little dot next to each of them here. All you do is you click the dot, and you jump between armatures, and you can control click and work on multiple armatures at the same time. Beautiful. Beautiful. Never knew this. Who knows how long it's been possible? Maybe years. We'll never know. So, yeah, this is cool. This is cool. This is helpful. Yeah, so with that said, thought I'd just share that little tidbit for any other Blender users who aren't familiar. Like me, I did not know. So for blocking this in, I've got their basic kind of trajectory and timing in from when they come to a stop. And I'll start with that, and I will kind of block in their poses. I have not recorded video reference. If I were doing like very high quality feature animation, I would definitely record video reference for this shot for both characters. However, since I'm doing the quick and dirty version, I just kind of acted it out in front of a mirror to kind of get the feeling of, you know, what the body wants to do, where my limbs are at what time, the way I need to move to set up, and I just kind of got it solid in my head of what they need to do. And I might go back and act it out again later if I forget anything, but that's kind of the way I'm working today so that I don't have to deal with recording, setting up and recording and editing video reference. It kind of takes a while. The old-fashioned way is to just act it out and feel it. That's what all the animators did before they had smartphone cameras. Anyways, so what I did determine in the midst of all that is that I'm going to have Endi kind of laying on their side when they come to a stop. They're going to kind of roll, maybe do like a shoulder roll type thing and come and roll down once on their side and then kind of push themselves up with one arm to sit up sideways. Amp is going to kind of be flopped out on their back and then just kind of like swing their arms forward and do a kind of a sit up in place so that we don't have them both just doing the exact same pose. Both felt pretty natural to me, so that's the plan. So that's kind of the idea of what I'm going to do. Now I have to decide which controllers I'm going to use in what settings to make it happen. And I think one thing I know for sure is with the FK arms, I'm going to set a key on the whole character on both the beginning and here for one thing. And for the arms, I want to turn arm lock to 1 so that the FK arms follow the orientation of the body, and this will make it a lot easier to animate them while the character is rolling on the ground. I won't have to do any animation on the arms really at all. I'll just pose them and then roll the character. And then I'll switch to IK when the character comes to a stop and pushes themselves up. The legs are working the same way. And so yeah, I think the head I'd like to keep the head this way. And it looks like there's a snap tool, so I could switch it if I wanted. However, I don't trust that. With motion blur, we might see like a crazy flip out frame. So let's just see. Let's take a look at our gimbals and see if I can animate everything the way I want it. Because there's so much turning and rolling in this shot, gimbals are going to be very important to pay attention to, because we could easily end up with gimbal lock, which will turn things into a nightmare. So another thing we'll be doing is changing our rotation order. Before we start blocking, and making sure the rotation order is what we want. I think we'll try Z, X, Y. In general, when you're messing with rotation orders and gimbals, you want the middle axis, in this case X, to be the one you plan to use the least. Because the middle one is the one that's going to create gimbal lock for you. The first one and the last one will be able to move as much as you want without getting gimbal lock, but the middle one's the troublemaker. So if I say, okay, I think X is the one I want to use the least in this shot, then I put X in the middle, and then I can experiment with whether I want Z or Y to be first and last, because it does change the way things work. So I want to just put the head up and see what the axes look like. Yeah, so in Blender, the Y, whatever's last in the list, it's a bit counterintuitive. Whatever's last in the list is kind of the axis that affects everything. I wish you could kind of see them all together at the same time. It hides the other ones when I'm moving it, but maybe like this. Yeah, here we go. So this way you can see. So since Y is at the end of the order, Y controls everything. Everything moves with Y. X is in the middle, so X only moves only one of the other ones, and that's where you get in trouble with gimbal lock. And just in case you're not familiar and you haven't dealt with the nightmare before, gimbal lock is when these two line up with each other, and you can basically no longer rotate the head like this. You can, but you'll end up with horrible animation curves that make the head flip in random directions, and all kinds of messes will result with that. So that's why when I'm animating rotations, especially with things that are turning a lot, I use the gimbal mode on the axis, not just local or global, but gimbal, because this allows you to see if you're in gimbal lock, and it's a good thing to know. So that's the little lesson on gimbal lock for the day. And yeah, the first one on the list, Z in this case, moves independently, just kind of turns in place and doesn't affect the other two. So first one moves freely, first one in the list of ZXY, for instance. First one, Z, moves, kind of on its own. second one in this order here, X, just moves the one before it, but not the one after. And then Y, which is at the end, moves everything else that comes before that in the order. It's very kind of weird and counterintuitive to understand how the orders affect each other. I forget all the time and have to start experimenting again to remember. Yeah, it's kind of crazy. You just mess around with it until you have what you want. But in this case anyway, I think this is good because this will allow me to have Endi's head upright once Endi starts talking and sits up, but also I can animate Endi's head you know, while it's down here as well. And one thing further to note about that is I can still animate X. I can turn X around several times. I just need to know that when I get to my resting point, which is going to be about here, I'm going to be able to still do this because my Z-axis is going to be upright. It's not going to be like that. Yeah, so I think this is the rotation order I want. And I don't need to keep the headlock on. The other way around this is to turn on the headlock. Which forces the head to stay aligned to the body. So like, if I were to zero out the head and then turn the body, now the head rolls with it. That's fine. And in some cases, that's probably what you want. But I like to try to keep the head free because it just seems to move more naturally that way in most cases. Like, you know, you can move the body independently of the head. Basically, like, you say I'm animating the character sitting up. There's going to be a little bit of this going on with the head in general. That would be like the natural way for the head to move. So, yeah, let's see if this works. I may end up eating all of those many words in a bit. So we're going to do the same thing with the root controller. We're going to pick our rotation order now and make sure it's what we want. What did I do here? ZXY. Let's try YXC. If I really get in trouble, I've got a secondary hip controller here I can use. So I don't need to worry too much about the way all that's facing. But I do want to make sure the spine is kind of like angled as much from camera as I want. Yeah, and then as Endi sits up, their spine's going to be kind of like that. So I think this is going to work well. Might try the same order on the head too. So that was YXZ. Yeah, I think I'm gonna stick with that for the head too. So once the head is upright, we can still do this kind of stuff and this kind of stuff. Right. So now that those are figured out, I'm going to go ahead and pose this mother. These legs are so short. I think IK at this moment will be a lot easier. Yeah, so Endi's gonna kind of like push themselves up into a sideways sitting position. So actually, I think this leg should be forward. Like that. Yeah, make a little extra room for the other arm. They're both going to be in front of Endi. That's kind of where the handle be to push off, but before that, let's see. Maybe more turned in. And elbow up. Not going to worry about finger poses right now, because this may all change. Just kind of put the hands at the angle and position they should be at, and try to imagine the fingers look better. Okay, so that's Endi's kind of, you know, stopping pose where the rolling has stopped right before Endi pushes themselves up. All right. Double check I got a key on everything. Let's set up Amp's pose. So amp is going to end up more I think in this orientation, and then sit up this way. If I can, let's see if I can figure out how that'll work. The shot before it. Yeah, maybe this angle to start. Okay, so, and there'll be like a roll from like this direction. Amp will roll this way to a stop, and then sit up that way. Hey, Let Us Dance is here. Dancing in the chat. Yo. How's it going? So this one I did YXZ. I think I'm gonna do the same thing over here probably. YXZ. Let's see if that causes too much trouble. It might. Yeah, no, we're not gonna do that. Lazy Friday. Yes, I agree. It's lazy, it's rainy. I'm having a hard time motivating to work today. So I think I want X to be the last in the order in this one, and then I guess Z to be in the middle. So that would mean I want YZX. Let's try that. Let Us Dance. You missed what I'm sure was a fascinating dissertation on Euler orders and or Euler orders and gimbal lock. Just so you know. What did I say? YZX? Yeah, let's try that. Yeah, it's gonna be oops. I'm gonna utilize my trajectory controller here to get the angle I want without having to mess up my gimbals. This is why having offset controllers like extra. Sometimes you'll see on rigs like 2 controllers that are just the same thing in the same place. This is why. Because you can do something like this. And then now I have on my hips, I have, it's kind of hard to see, but yeah, the y-axis on the hips is still where I want it. Sorry, I'm gonna call my sister. Oh, I was just joking. I was joking. I've been getting deep into gimbal lock on the stream to nobody. I just figured if someone watches a replay and they want to learn about gimbal lock, they can learn about it. All this madness about rotation orders and stuff. Yeah, exactly. And I think I could actually put Z in the middle now that I have. Oh, it is. It is in the middle. Great. Okay. So yeah, amp can tumble this way. We won't get gimbal lock. And then amp can sit up this way, and we still won't get gimbal lock. And this is going to work well. So let's YZX. Let's try it on the head too. Yeah, because we're not going to need to do much of that. So yeah, this will work well as well. Do these elbows follow? Yes. Do I play any games? It's funny you should ask, because like just a few minutes ago, out of boredom, I played a round of Mortal Kombat 3 just to change up my day. But normally, no, not really. That was like the first time I played a video game in as long as I can remember. I know you mentioned you were doing game streaming. What kind of games do you like to stream? Okay, so there's our dead characters. That's funny. No, they'll be laughing and having the time of their lives. It's fine. They just look dead at the moment. Team Fortress 2 most nights. I must admit, I haven't even seen that game. I know I've heard of it, but I haven't. I'm just an old man in that way. I think it was originally released in 2007, but it became free to play in 2011. That was like a nice rhyme you did there. Let me look at it. Hold on a second. Oh, I remember this. Yes. I totally remember this. I think I did try this when it, like I tried a demo of it or something. Yeah, that's a cool game. Well, cool. I'll definitely check it out when you're streaming it sometime. I remember that one because there was like, I don't even remember anymore, but I feel like it was, what do they use? Unreal or is that Unity? Meet the Team trailers. Source Filmmaker. That was it. That was it. Source Filmmaker. Yeah, I remember. That's why I was like following it, because I was really interested in Source Filmmaker and what they were doing with it. And I think I tried it out at the time. Or I was just watching the demo videos about it. It seemed really cool. Okay, so we have our... Yeah, definitely an inspiration. I feel like that was one of the first times it felt like, oh wow, this is all gonna be real time someday. So, okay, I've got my... This is another tricky part here I have to think through. I've got my pose of the two characters. They've landed, they've rolled, they've come to a stop. They're giggling for a minute, then they sit up. So pretty much all of the limbs are going to change from IK to FK or vice versa at this moment. Because we're going to have FK arms at first because they're going to be tucked into the body and rolling with the body. And FK legs for the same reason. And then we're going to switch to IK everything when they sit up so that the legs and the hands all stay on the ground. So... So this is when they first come to a stop. So everything's going to be FK right now on this frame. So I'll switch the arms back to FK. Oh no. The snap doesn't work. Snap. IK to FK. Dang. Oh well. You know what? What is going on here? This is... Man, those don't work either. Well, that's a bummer. I wonder if it has to do with the FK arm settings. Let's see. If I switch this to 0, maybe? There we go. Okay. Sweet. So apparently arm lock has to be on 0 for the snapping to work. Boop. All right. Okay. So Endi has landed, rolled, come to a stop, everything's in FK, and then before Endi sits up, starts talking, which by the way, I imported the mocap just to prove they're not dead. Pretty quickly, Endi will start setting up. So I think at 10:50 we'll set another key and have all these switch to IK. It's like we have some breaking hips that are going to need to be fixed. That's probably doable. Okay. Oh my goodness. Isn't 3D animation fun? All right, let's take a look. Full parent. Oh, okay, okay. Hold on. Yeah, the knee poles are in the wrong place. So that might be all that needs to be fixed if we're lucky. Let's try it again. No. Okay. Let's see. I think I see what's happening here. So all these other controllers are keyed in a different place in the previous pose. They're keyed somewhere over there. So how to fix that? Like this. Yeah. All right. So if I delete all these previous keys on these controllers, I might get something a little better. A little better. Still got a couple rogue. It's maybe just this knee. Anyways, I think that's minor enough that I can probably work with it. I'll just make it a little cleaner in the IK state. And then we should be good. Not sure why the legs are so short. All right, well, let's try copying this pose. These controls, basically the hips, the knee, and the feet in the IK world. I'm gonna copy the keys. First of all, make sure there's keys on them. And then I'm gonna copy all these keys just a few frames over here. And then I'm going to try snapping to FK and see if they look the same. Ooh, this is a good sign. Okay, we're good. Okay, so now what I can do is take these FK leg controls. In fact, I'll just key the whole character again here. Okay. I'll just replace this whole character pose with the other, or replace the other one with this one. FK. Still a weird little fidget there, but it have something to do with this. Man, who knew IK FK snapping could be so complicated? No, don't think it's that. All right, well, so there's like a little bit of a fidget in there, but I'm not going to worry about it. Can probably kind of mask it with some other movement. Yeah, so at long last, we have our moment where we switch all our controls from FK to IK. So Endi can go from rolling on the ground to pushing themselves up to sit. So yeah, let's do that pose. I'm not going to worry about timing yet. I'm just going to set it all at 10 frames ahead. Always best not to worry too much about timing when you're doing posing. Makes it easier just to think about one thing at a time. I keep those hands on the ground. And I actually want to, my first reaction would be to push the shoulders way down to compensate, but Endi will actually feel a little more like they're holding themselves up with their arms if the shoulders stay up a bit. So I'm going to try to keep the shoulders up. To indicate, you know, that the arms are holding that body weight. In fact, at this point, Endi will be up on one arm. The other one will be kind of fiddling with this broken surfboard that's going to be sitting right there. So yeah, nice straight arm, shoulders pushed up. This will help feel like Endi's putting that weight on that arm. And then this arm is going to be free to move. Like the leg wants to come up a bit. I'm kind of acting it out in my chair a little bit. Not sure why the hip keeps getting pushed so far this way. That's so weird. The feet actually shrink when it switches. I don't even know what to think of that. Might be a glitch with the rig. What I'll probably end up having to do is bake the whole animation to either one or the other when I'm done, so that we don't have to even do the switch, but that will come at the end. So we've got Endi kind of sitting up. Bloop. All right, so let's do Amp's pose. Oh, right. And how could I forget the IK-FK switch? The most fun part. Mhm. I feel like this is very glitchy. I'm going to check and see if there is a rig update. There is a new version available. So let's take a look. Oh, looks like lots of changes. Wow, that's great. Support free IK bones roll. Arms like new auto IK roll setting added limb options. I don't even know what that means. Seamless IK FK switch in free mode is still supported. Thanks to a more advanced IK FK snapper. This could be the one. Okay, I think it's worth it. This is kind of a complicated thing to do though in the middle of a shot, but I think yeah, I think it's gonna be worth it because I kind of need IK FK switching to work for this shot to not be like a total nightmare. So I'm gonna yes, fingers crossed. Thank you. So I'm gonna download that real quick. I will have to restart Blender, reinstall it. I will have to edit the rig files. And then when I reload the shot, they should have the updated rigs. So yeah. Off screen here, I'm gonna go ahead and do all that stuff. Man, it's been almost a year. Gosh, April 15th, 2022. That's when I got AutoRig Pro and started building these character rigs. Let's see here. Rig to AutoRig Pro. Okay, so we got a closed blender here. Okay, the updated AutoRig Pro is copied over, and now I will try a rig update. See what happens. So to do that, I need to version up my rig first of all, in case everything gets broken. It's super important. Always want to be able to go back. So I'll start with Amp, since it's the one I'm working on at the moment, and he seems to be misbehaving. Or they. So first thing I'll do before I forget is change the version number. Versioning up, and then I'll rename my old file V46. And so now should be able to just go in here, and there's some section in here that lets you update armature. It says no changes, but just to be sure, tell it to regenerate. Cool. Drivers are still intact. That's good news. I do love the idea of this spine control. I wonder if I can add that in without breaking my shots. Spine master controller, space local, stretch and squash. Let's try it. Hey, look at that. Amp's got a new controller. Woo! Okay. That's nice. Kind of gives you like an IK spine almost, which is really nice to have. Yeah, this is great. This is great. So I'm also just going to check it said something about soft IK for arms now. That's great to have too. Okay. Supposedly this soft AK thing helps keep the elbows from popping, the knees and elbows from popping. I don't think it really does much, honestly, but it's a nice thought. Maybe it saves a little, I don't know. Okay, so this is the updated rig. I still have my old version in case something got totally screwed up. Version 47, so we'll go ahead and save this now. Try reopening my shot and see if it works. Okay, Amp. Yes, and we can confirm that the new rig is in. This is the new controller that didn't exist before. It's pretty cool. Let's try the snapping. Please work. Ah! Dang it. Oh, man. Nope. Kind of seems exactly the same to me. Maybe the pole parent. Nope. So weird because this actually worked with Endi. It's not even close to working with Amp. Well, perfect. Yes, rubber band arms. Whee. Let's see here. Well, all I know is my brain is about to explode and I need a break. So I'm going to take a break and see if I can handle this when I get back. Or I might just have to stop or do something else for the day. I want to keep working because I have not been making very good progress the last few days. And it's still kind of early, but I definitely need to decompress my brain and move around. So I will be back in a few. Okay, I'm back. So, having a break was good for my brain. I did think of another way to do this. I can do this without having to use FK at all. Yes, yes, indeed. I can do this if I can get the snapping, the parent snapping to work. I can just keep everything in IK and then just change the parents. Yeah, break is a good idea. Definitely. So there's this snapping tool here. I'm not super familiar with how it works. But if, for instance, I wanted that to be keyed there, but here I want the IK hand to be something else. I just have to figure out how that works. Oh, Lord. Yeah, no, I don't know how this works. And I'm not gonna figure it out on the stream because that won't be any kind of interesting at all. So I'm going to switch to another shot. And I'm going to come back to this one. I'm probably going to have to try to get some support for the rigs to figure out why the IK-FK snapping isn't working. I'm not sure why, because it usually works just fine. Yeah, problem for future me, exactly. That's a problem for tomorrow me. Or for Monday me or whatever. But yeah, I have used the IK-FK snapping quite a bit, and it's never given me this much trouble before, so I'm not sure what it is about this shot that's making that such a big deal. Do I take weekends off? I seem, you know what? Like, honestly, days of the week have lost all meaning for me. I am working I usually make sure I do at least one day a week where I don't even get on the computer. That's usually Sunday. But it just changes. Does my boss give me vacation days? Yeah, I had some family visiting about a month ago, so I took a week off for that. And when I'm gone on here for like a week at a time or several days at a time, which I wasn't originally planning to have so many long absences, it's usually because I'm just doing some really technical troubleshooting thing that's no fun to stream or watch. So, and involves a lot of cursing and frustration. And nobody wants any more of that in their lives, so yeah, I don't stream on those days. Yeah, I try to be like deliberate with like, okay, I'm just gonna animate today, and so I'll stream this because, you know, blah blah blah. But then stuff like this happens in the middle of the progress, and that's the way it goes. So I'm gonna save this shot, and I'm gonna try another one that's been a long time coming. I did some updates to the interior forest set last night. What that is the characters leave the ship and they go running into the forest. And then the next scene, this is a new scene that I haven't even started yet, is Endi and Amp walking through the forest or running through the forest talking about something. So I think it would be a good time to do this shot. This shot is just going to be mocap. It's just them walking along the forest path. So it should be not only quick to set up, but kind of a fun, quick payoff. Because the set's already made. It's just dropping them in and putting the mocap on them to get them to walk on the path. That should be all we need. So I'm just double checking the length of this. I do have a, I've been working with one of the guys that works for the Blender Market, the CG Cookie / Orange Turbine people. And I'm actually getting them to help me with some scripts. And one thing we've put together that I haven't fully deployed yet is a script that generates all of my shot files for me based on the markers in my resolve timeline. So, you know, kind of with the assumption that there's going to be more episodes, it'll come in really handy because I'll just set markers on all the shots in the timeline, and I'll set, you know, like tags for what assets are going to go in the shot and what the name of the shot is. And then this script builds the whole file structure for me for the whole episode all at once. Sets up all the animation files, sets up all the lighting files. It's great. It's going to save a ton of time. Yeah. Yes. And so that's not quite ready to run yet. So I've still been manually making the folders, but what I do have is a pre-existing folder tree that we demoed, and I can just grab the shot folder out of that, and it will already have an anim file and a lighting file set up for me that's the correct length and kind of set up the way I want. So this is good. So I'm going to start with that. I'm just double checking here that it's 64 frames so that I know that it's right. I bring it in. So anyways, this is shot 120. I'm going to copy that over, make a new shot folder. Let's open our anim file and see what we've got. So yeah, it's already created my shot collection, the anim collection, which will be linked into the lighting file. It's already ready to go. It's got a camera collection for the camera and any empties or any other things I add to make the camera work. Collection for clouds, which I don't think we're even going to have in this shot. Delete it. And yeah, we've got, I think these initial ones that it made were all 1 frame short. So we're just 1 frame short here. I'll extend that. Got our 64 frames. And we're already ready to go. And this is the early one, so it doesn't have the assets already brought in, but that's something that will be in the next couple days. The script is going to be finished and I'll be able to run it, and all of the anim files will, like, I'll just open it and Amp and Endi will already be in here, linked in and ready to go. So that'll be kind of cool. But it's no big deal to just do it this way. Oh, right, and I have an old amp rig now, so we see 2 amps in here. I need to make sure I grab the right one. Okay, that's the old one. So this is kind of the state the file will be in when I open it, once the script is finished. So from here, with these scenes, I've set it up in such a way that forest path is the set that I'm going to be using. Don't know why there's 2 of them in here. Let's take a look. Oh yeah, again, I have an old version. So I'm linking in the terrains because they're huge files and I don't want every anim file to be an extra 50 megabytes because of a terrain that's in it. So we'll link this in. Now we'll drag it into the right place. Okay. And if I leave it out of this shot 120 anim collection, then you know, it won't get brought in to the lighting file with the animation stuff, which is what I want. So it's another little bonus. The other thing I'm going to link in is the proxies. Really appreciate you explaining everything. I don't know anything about Blender, but it's nice to understand what you're doing. Oh, good. Good. I'm glad. Yeah, it's been a long road learning how to do all this stuff, so I'm happy to share. So yeah, this is our forest path linked in. The other thing I'm going to do is I think I am going to link in the proxies of the forest. I think that was the plan. I actually have a shot workflow for exactly this reason. Now we'll bring it up now. So this crazy thing is how this actually all works. And there's a reason for this I won't get into, but short version is I had a lot of corrupt files and this was the way I had to figure out to do it. So in my anim work file here, terrain file is linked in, that's correct. And the scatter proxy file is also linked in. Everything is linked into the anim file. So I just needed to confirm that. I didn't put the proxies in the asset browser, which made me wonder if that was the case, but it is the case. So we'll go find those in here. Set model forest path proxies. We are linking these. Yep. And so what this is going to allow me to do is, this is still like a really nice light file that I can, well, once I turn simplify on anyway, I can still scrub the timeline decently. If I hide them, it performs really quickly, which is what I want for animation. But I can see where all the trees and shrubs and everything are going to be, so that I don't have the camera go through tree or whatever, which is important. And then these don't get linked into the lighting file, they just stay in here. And then when I go into the lighting file, that's when I actually bring in the full forest situation, which is a huge resource hog, so we don't want to have it in the anim file. One thing I'm keeping in mind is that where the action's gonna go. So there's a lot of close-ups where we don't really see where they are. But then in the end, or in the second part of the scene, we see them kind of at this kind of bend in the trail, and there's a big bush of crazy magic leaves here. That bend is kind of hard to see, but it's right here. So what I want to do is, for the earlier part, I need to give them space to run along the trail, basically. So for the earlier part, I'm pretty sure I have planned for the camera to be about here. And that's why all these extra ground cover things are here. Yeah, something like that. there's going to be more trees in the background. This is just kind of the basics to get us started. I think I'm going to want a longer, a deeper like depth for this lens. So maybe a 35mm lens. Just to make the whole area feel bigger. Could even do like a little bit of a drift on camera shot, might be cool. Kind of looking at where the eye is in the previous shot. Presumably most people will be looking at these characters running. So I'm going to frame it so it's not a perfect match cut, like they're not going to be exactly right here in the frame, but we're going to keep them kind of in the same area. Which is what I've done here. So I want to try to maintain that. So we'll start with that, see how that goes. The next thing I'm going to do is hide this stuff, and I'm going to bring some mocap in to our characters. So that would be append. Oh, be a good time to save too. Save up. Okay, now we're gonna append. I've got a bunch of mocap clips I've downloaded from Mixamo. Everybody's favorite. And where would those be? Probably here. Mocap, Mixamo, yeah. Oh, it's in, and they're FBXs, so I need to do an FBX import. Okay, yeah, I got all my Mixamo clips here. I don't really know which walk I'm going to want to use. I just know that I want to use one of the in-place walks, so I'm just going to bring all 4 of them in. 5 of them. And then I can decide. Uh-oh. So yeah, let's take a look at these, see how they are. There's a little animation loop. That could be a good walk for Amp. That's really, it's kind of like stern and confident walk. Let's see how this one is. It's a big, like, big beastly walk. That's a more casual, easygoing walk. I think that'd be a good walk for Endi. So yeah, armature 2, that's probably going to be Endi's walk. I'll check the other two just to be sure. That's fun. That could work for Endi as well. It's a cool guy walk. All right, so yeah, I think I'm gonna use 2 for Endi. And yeah, and the first one for Amp. So AutoRig Pro comes with a few more tools for helping make this easier, which is really nice. Probably have to be in pose mode, maybe? Build bones list is grayed out, which is strange. Because that is the next step. Let's see, do I have something locked? All right. Well, I'm going to try narrowing this problem down a bit. Let's see. It could be a bug with this new version of AutoRig Pro that I just imported. I'm going to try it on a non-linked rig and see if that's what it is. Okay. There's the build bones list, so that works. Source armature is armature. Target armature is amp rig. Oh, I did it the wrong way. After all that. Oh my god. Sorry, everybody. Okay, so now we can build the bones list, and I can close that. And so for the bones list, you can bring in these mapping presets, and it comes with one for Mixamo. So go on to use FK arms and IK legs. Let's try that. And what that does is it automatically populates all the translations so that, you know, it knows which Mixamo arm to put onto this amp arm type of thing. And so now that that's done, the next thing you have to do is you have to redefine the rest pose. And what you do is you just need to make it so that this matches this. So I'm going to grab basically everything except the fingers and toes, pretty much. And the feet. And then I hit that. And then when you apply this, so now all the angles of the arms and legs all match amp. And when we apply this, it's going to kind of recreate the motion capture animation so that it works with this new skeleton. So now that it looks the same, but if we had copied it over before I did that, Amp's arms and legs would have all been in wacky places, and supposedly this takes care of that. Let's try it. If we hit retarget now, it takes a moment. Perfect. Yeah, so there's some adjustments that need to happen, but everything's pretty much in the right place. The angles all match, and that's what matters. So the next step is these tools that kind of allow you to make adjustments to how everything is set up. It's perfect. Just the legs are just a little stretchy. Woo! So yeah, the things I want to correct real quick are the shoulders are dropped a little too low, and the arms are obviously intersecting the body, and the stretchy legs. So the next thing we can do is there's these where's that interactive tweaks. So you hit this little button, it tells it that we're going to be editing the shoulder, and then I can change the rotation. It looks like me trying to walk next to my tall friends. Do you got these sassy hips? Mm-hmm. So yeah, this should be X rotation. And I don't know which direction it's supposed to go, but we'll just try one. Yeah. And then what this does is it just takes the whole animation and shifts it, so I don't have to do anything like frame by frame. Oops. But you do have to switch this every time you choose a new controller. And again, X. And maybe turn these hands so that they don't. Yeah, it's kind of like a catwalk. Okay. That is so funny. Oh my gosh. Yeah, so I did 6 and then maybe 5. And then there's this location multiplier thing I think helps with the feet. Let's try it. Yeah. So that reduces the distance of the leg. Maybe just 0.4. Yeah, that's going to be more what we want. So we'll do that on the other one. There's some weird rotations on the feet I'll take care of. I'm not going to worry too much about it though, because this is a long shot. We're not going to see them very close. Like obviously the toe's gonna go through the ground, but I'm not gonna worry about stuff like that. We'll see how it goes. Okay, so now we can hide that. And the last thing to do is to make all these loop. The little jetter is just a weird loop point, but yeah, there we go. It's definitely very mocap-y walk, but yeah, for a long shot, I think it's going to be fine. So I will do the same thing with Endi now, and then we can plop them both on the trail and see how it looks. I think I decided the one I was going to use for Endi is this one. Oops. Go. You know what? I think I missed one. I want to make sure I get the hands in there. Uh-oh. Oh yeah, Endi's just got that wide body, so the arms are probably in the right place. They just need to be. Yeah, I think everything copied over right. I have to use this for something. I have to think of something to do with this. It's pretty hilarious. 3 for the location on this one. Oh, oops. Yeah, I think that'll work pretty well. If anything, the feet are just kicking out a little too far forward. BRB. Enjoy your break. Okay, I think that's probably good. And there is no animation on the fingers. That's good. I'm going to just drop some relaxed hand poses on the hands so they're not so splayed out. Where does this live? Yes, here. Get our FK fingers involved here. Got these handy dandy pre-made poses. Don't have very many yet, but just enough so that I can do the basics. Get rid of all these keyframes of nothingness. There are keyframes on the fingers, but yeah, I'm not going to use those. Okay, so there's our Endi walk. And I'm going to go ahead and cycle everything. And there it is. Hip deformation is a little bit weird, but I'm not going to worry about that for the moment. Probably won't matter in this shot. Last thing I'm going to do is do that same step with the hands that I forgot to do with Amp. Get the hands out of this flat default orientation and get the relaxed pose on them. Something weird going on here. Oh, I don't have auto key turned on. Silly me. Alright, we got some walking characters. Woohoo! So, and now the next step is to put them on the path. I will use the main cog controller for that. So a handy thing is there is a constraint that I can use to lock amp to the ground here. And so that I don't have to worry about the footfalls being floating. I mean, this shot is such a long shot, probably won't have to worry about it, but let me see. I think it's a shrink wrap or floor, probably. I can't remember. Clamped. Shrink wrap right there. Yeah, my brain is fried today, I guess. Okay, so can I choose? I might have to create an override here for this to work. So now I can actually access the object itself, which is this. And there we go. So now when I move amp, it's kind of hard to see, but maybe if I turn on the wireframe. Now when I just move amp forward, it just sticks right to the ground. Don't have to do nothing. Just a little offset here. This might get a little tricky with one foot being, as the trail's kind of sloped diagonally, so one foot should end up falling a little lower than the other, but that's something I can do with the animation itself. So yeah, the last step is to just basically guesstimate the distance amp is walking. During this shot. I'm just looking at the foot to see if it's sliding. That's pretty close. And I do need to change this constraint. The nearest surface point is making it jump around, so what I would do instead is project. I think Z minus. Yep. We can do back face culling. And yeah, now we got something much smoother. So there's Amp walking along the trail. Last thing I'm going to do before I call Amp finished is make sure this left foot is actually touching the ground so we don't see weird shadows. Yeah, and it's not. So what I'm going to have to do, I'm going to lower the whole thing so that Amp's left foot, the orange one, is on the ground, and then I'll raise the animation of the right foot. If I can. Okay, what I will do is lower it with the trajectory controller. So now that foot's going to be on the ground. Actually kind of goes through it. Kind of get a sense of how noticeable that is. It's pretty noticeable. I might have to go in and do some cleanup so we don't see the feet just sinking into the ground the whole time. But for now, I'll just take this one, raise it up a bit. Excuse me. That's pretty close. I mean, the foot's going to be touching the ground, so we shouldn't see any floating shadows. And yeah, it might just make some tweaks later to make it not so obvious the foot's going through the ground so much. But we got contact. Yeah, we got plenty of contact. So I'll bring Endi in now. Endi's going to be walking behind Amp there. Again, I will copy that constraint. Stick Endi to the floor here. It's almost exactly right. And I'm going to offset everything a bit so they're not walking in perfect unison. Derp, 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 derp. Save. Checking the foot contacts. Just don't want any floating feet, because that can show up really easily in renders because of the shadows. Yeah, and probably need to go in and maybe fix that a bit. I mean, this is the shot. They're very far away. You can hardly see their feet. It's probably not going to show, but I might go in and just do a little bit of cleanup on it so that there's not quite so much feet going into the ground. That's a lot. So yeah, I'll fix that later. But yeah, I don't think it'll be very noticeable at all. think almost done. Just want to maybe animate one of them blinking and looking in another direction. Not going to spend a long time on it because might not even be able to see it in the final shot. But just something in case you can. Yeah, maybe one of them kind of turns their head a little bit. Might be nice. Oh, right. But this one has mocap, so that's going to be... That's going to require some NLA magic. So the way that's done is to create a new action. Let's see if I can remember how to do this. It's really strange. I think we... hit this button to push it down. And so now we can make a new action that goes on top. And I want it to be a hold extrapolation, and I want it to be add, because I want to add it on top of the animation that's there. So I'm going to make a new one. Call this just the head turn. Whoa. And now we can, I think you have to hit edit maybe? There we go. So now I can No, that's the wrong one. Yeah, now I can set other keys. We can see here that there's rotation happening from the other animation, but the colors indicate there's no keyframes. So now I can add more keyframes. So I'm going to let the blink lead the head turn. So I'm going to set like a key here. That's it. We could do more, but I don't know if it's even going to show because this is literally how far away they are. So I'm just gonna, I think I'm gonna leave it there and turn this stuff back on. Turn this back on. And yeah, I would like to see a little ambient motion on the camera here. Just trying to be cognizant of the camera motion that's already in the preceding shot so we don't do anything that really conflicts with it. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and render a preview movie of this, and we can check it out in the timeline, see how it works with the adjacent shot. That's all right. Okay, I think that's ready. I want to switch to set my workbench settings. Yep. Oops. Okay. Drop that in there. This is exciting. New scene. First shot in the new scene. Let's see how it looks. Ooh, I love that flamingo. Nice. Okay, I think it's gonna work. Yeah. And just if you're curious, I do have a render of what this forest is actually going to look like. The lighting is going to be different, but I did set up a like a still image. And it looks a little something like this. So this is what it'll look like. The path texture is not finished in this image, but this and there's no sky. It's just black. So there will of course be a sky, and I want to put maybe some like kind of volumetric rays coming through the trees, some atmosphere. But this is where they will be walking. Oh, yay! Beautiful. Awesome. Yeah, thank you. I mean, I can't take credit for any of the assets. This is all assets that I, either bought or downloaded. So I just set up the environment. But I think it's going to be a nice shot. And it'll be a slightly different angle than this, I guess. But these two trees here in the foreground are the same two trees as these two trees here. So, yeah. It is roughly the same angle. Maybe a little more straight down the trail than this one, which is kind of sideways on the trail. I could even mess with that too to match this image a little better. But that's something to play with when we get to the next day of this shot. So yeah, I think that's a good place for me to leave it. I feel good about having actually gotten a new shot done, even though the other one was kind of a weird derailment. So yeah, I'm going to stop the stream now. Let Us Dance, it was so great to see you. Thanks for hanging out. And yeah, company, great company. And I love all your extra little emojis or emotes you're dropping in there. Especially this flamingo, which is hilarious. Yeah, of course. Of course, of course. Yes, have a wonderful night. Have a wonderful weekend. And we'll see you again soon. Wish I could take credit for the flamingo. Yeah, no. I won't tell anybody. Nobody's going to see this. It's just the internet. You have a good weekend too, and see you next time. Bye-bye.